Yo, what's up everybody? Today we're going to be dropping a review on Romantic Killer. This is volume 1. I believe it's close to 200 pages. The book is in color. Check this out. Bam! How often do we get those, right? And this is published by Viz Media. Now the paper they use on this, it's a glossy paper. So it's thinner, but it's heavier, right? So therefore the book looks thinner when you put it next to the other mangas. The other ones are lighter and they're thicker because they're on different type of paper, right? I personally like the other paper better, but I guess this one color holds up better on this type of paper, right? Okay, so the writer here is Wataru Mimosa. He's also the artist on this. You can see on the cover the type of art to expect. I believe he wrote this for free on a website. The point of it was just to hopefully people get their eyes on his product, right? And hopefully they like it and whatnot and it catches fire. And it did. It caught fire. Netflix was one of them. You never know who's watching these things, right? So they got a hold of it. They're like, hey, this is pretty funny. Let's do an anime. So he worked out some type of deal with them. I don't know the specifics of it. And after that was announced, Viz Media's like, hey, why don't we print out physical copies of this bad boy? You know, make some money right there. So all of a sudden, this guy's dreams are coming true. He's getting money off of a Netflix deal. And now he's releasing physical copies of his work. And you know, it's always good when you have an idea or a product you want to make and to see it start becoming successful, right? First, you're happy it's coming to fruition. You're excited. The next step is hopefully it's successful and people like it, right? So people have been enjoying it. All right, our main character here, her name is Ansu. Now, she lives an awesome life. What's her life, you say? Playing a bunch of video games, reading comic books, chilling out, eating junk food, pizza, and chocolate bars. Come on, man, that's like the high school life, you know? Like, who wouldn't want to go back to their high school years and just chill, right? She got that ill flow going right now. And then this magical creature comes around and fucks everything up. He sends her to this alternate universe, flips her life upside down, gets rid of her video games, of her mangas. And she's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? This creature tells her that she has to get rid of all this stuff because she dedicates too much time in the day with this stuff. And now without these things, she has more free time to find somebody like a love interest. She's like 16. She's in high school. It's like, bro, stop forcing her to rush into a relationship, right? Like, she has the rest of her life for that. And unfortunately here, they're putting her in a situation where it's like it feels forced and she doesn't really want to. She's like, I don't want to just jump into a situation, right? Let her get to know these motherfuckers and see if she likes someone, if she connects and clicks, right? So there's this guy in school. When she's in this alternate universe, she's like, I'll play along. The quicker I do this, the quicker I go back to my universe, right? So there's this guy and she can't stand him because he's kind of popular. He's considered hot and whatnot. So the girls throw themselves at him and so on, right? And it's annoying to her. And then she's put in a situation by this magical creature where she has to be around him more and get to know him. As she gets to know him, she's like, man, this guy's actually a real nice guy. He's very cool. He treats her cool and he never tries to like force himself on her or anything. And as she gets to know him, she realizes it's not him. It's the girls that are doing all this. He's just a chill guy. And it's them that are doing all this bullshit, right? So she's like, oh my God, now that I'm getting to know him, I'm seeing what they see in him. Like, he's a nice guy. Now she likes him and now she's finding herself attracted to him, but she doesn't want to be. So that's where things get tricky. And then it turns out as she gets to know him, he says, I'm not really looking for anybody right now. Like, because so many girls, like, they bug me. They kind of annoy me. I just want to chill out on that stuff, right? So they both want the same thing, to like no pressure or anything, right? So it's almost like a perfect match made in heaven. Now that that's out of the way, she's a lot more comfortable around him now that she knows there's no pressure of any of this romantic stuff going on, right? We're going to get a little bit into spoilers because I'm going to talk about scenes I like and dislike. But in order to talk about it and explain why I like what happened here or why I didn't, I have to explain the scene. So it's going to be minor spoilery. Although this is a rom-com, so in rom-coms, there's not a lot of story. It's more about character development and interaction between the characters, how they get along and so forth. That's mainly the more important parts on these type of books. So I'll keep that in mind. But if you don't want to be spoiled and you haven't read it and you want to click off, go right ahead. But go ahead and hit that like button before you go. You know, it helps out the channel and I really appreciate it, guys. Anything helps with the algorithm and so forth. So now let's talk a little bit about the scenes. We got our main character, Ansu. There's this scene and kind of, I really vibe with it. I was really enjoying it where she sees a roach in her apartment and she creeps out and just runs outside and it's pouring outside. Our other character, Kazuki, our male character or love interest, if you will, sees her, and this is when they first really start talking and getting to know each other. It's like, you're that girl from school, right? He recognizes her, and she's like, oh my god, he recognized me, and she gets all paranoid and stuff. And then he says, it's pouring outside. He gets his umbrella and gives it to her. She's like, no, it's yours. You use it. I don't want you getting soaked. And he says, nah, it's all good. Like, I don't want you getting sick. I got a jacket. I'm good. He gives it to her. Then she goes, well, I don't want to go back home. I'm scared. And he's like, where do you live and whatnot? They start talking, they're chopping it up and whatnot, getting to know each other. And he's like, you know what? I'll walk you home if you want. If you're scared, it's dark, it's late. He's like, I don't want you walking around by yourself then. So he's walking her home, and she's explaining to him that she's scared that there's a roach in the house. And he's like, a roach? You're scared of a roach? And she's like, don't make fun of me and this and that. And he's like, you want me to go in there and kill it for you? She's like, can you do that? She's like, oh, my hero! Oh! All right, so anyways, the main part here is that she's starting to see, like, this guy's pretty cool. He's a nice guy. I don't know why I hated him and whatnot. And they're starting to get to know each other, right? And he's a likable character. I like him. I like her. She's very funny. She's a little bit outrageous and like a roach. She runs out of her house into the rain, right? But it's done very comedically. The humor here is my jam. I really vibe with it. I found myself laughing out loud a few times and so forth. Now, the one character that's kind of the villain here, if there is one, is this magical creature. She calls him the imp, but he's like a fairy, right? He flies around, his mom waving around his wand, trying to manipulate situations, getting people to say stuff and getting people to do things that they otherwise wouldn't do, right? He's putting it in their head, say this, do this, like, to manipulate situations. And he's very annoying, and she's constantly slapping him around and yelling at him, like, stop this, stop trying to influence people and stop trying to rig the system, if you will, right? So I thought he's also not really hateable, but he's clearly the guy you root against. It's like, oh, can this guy leave her alone? So yeah, anyways, that's really the other main characters there. Like I said, I found this very funny. If you like this type of humor, then this one's gonna knock it out of the ballpark for you. Story-wise, not a lot has happened yet outside of our two main characters getting to know each other, and us as the reader getting to know the personalities of each one and so forth, right? Alright, so if you like, collecting manga, collecting comic books, reading, playing video games and all that stuff, you might be able to get a little more out of it because you can resonate with this main character, which I kind of felt that way at times. I was like, hey, this is like stuff I would do or whatnot, right? So that was very cool. Really enjoyed that. If there was any real flaws in the book so far, for me, I thought the artwork is a little simplistic, but it was okay. What was more, like, it really popped out to me was the coloring. It was very basic coloring. I wish the coloring was a little bit better, like a little more, this coloring felt like I was watching a Bugs Bunny cartoon, right? How if you watch those old cartoons from the 50s, the coloring in them is very basic, right? Like, there's not like 10 tones of gray or anything. It's just one shade of gray, that's it. One shade of black. There's not black, gray, lighter black, charcoal. None of that stuff going on, right? Very simplistic. So the coloring wasn't my favorite, like I said. Other than that, the book was real solid. I enjoyed it. The dialogue, the jokes were real good. And the dialogue was simplistic. I breezed through it in like maybe, I don't know, 30 minutes probably. I went to the book pretty fast because I was really enjoying it. Sometimes when something's dialogue heavy or when you're not enjoying it as much, it feels like a slog, right? So this never felt that way at any moment. As far as the physical format, the paper, I would have liked it better in the traditional manga paper, but I get it that it was done in color, so they went with different paper, but it makes the book like heavier and stuff. So I was like, like one book's not a big deal, but once you have a stack or a box of 20 of these books, the weight differences is noticeable, right, between these pages and the other pages. So anyways, other than that, what I would give this book, I give it somewhere close to a 9. Me personally, I think it was up there. Now for me, my rating system, the way I see it is 7 and 8, it's good, right? Or like mid-road or whatever. 9 and 10 is like up there, right? It's great. And then 5 and 6 is like, could have been better. So this is somewhere around a 9. So it's higher than good, right? Or than really good. So yeah, if you guys have read this before, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought about it. And you're going to watch the Netflix show because I'm definitely going to check that motherfucker out. Alright, so other than that, I'll just check you guys out next time.